everyone, in this tutorial we're going to look at using text boxes, picture placeholders and grids in order to help design and lay out your page. So the first thing we're going to do, here we are in Publisher with a blank page, is put an actual grid on it. So we're looking at a grid of 3 columns and 5 rows. So if I go up to page design here and click on that, and under the guides there's a little drop down menu, and the one I'm looking for then is this one here, which is a 5x3 grid. In other words, there's 3 columns and 5 rows. So I click that, and as you can see, it automatically transfers onto the page for me. So the blue line represents your margins around the page. Then you have column 1, column 2 and column 3, and the gutter, or the space between the columns, is already provided for you. So the next thing it asks is to insert a text box which is 1 column wide and 2 rows deep. So I go to Insert, Draw Text Box. So my cursor then changes to a little crosshairs. So starting at the corner of the margin here, and you don't have to be exact because you can always change it or move it a little bit later. I'm going to draw a line down just to the very top of the grid line there, and as you can see, just as I touch it, it changes to a darker color, and then drag it all the way across until I meet this line here, and I let go. Now when I let go, the text box itself automatically moves outside the boundaries of the grid, but that doesn't matter. The text itself will stay in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some text from Lorem Ipsum and place it in there. So I go onto the web and I just go to Lorem Ipsum. So on that page then I just click this button here and generate Lorem Ipsum. I don't need much because I'm only going to use 1 column, so I'm just going to copy and paste. Maybe the first paragraph should be enough. So I go Control, tap C, and then I can just come out of there. So now back on my page, I can just go to paste, or I can tap Control and V for Victor, and the actual Lorem Ipsum is in there. So now, as you can see, I'll just zoom it up a bit. You can see that the text is left aligned and it's exactly within the grid lines themselves. The next thing is we're going to put format that to Arial 11 black color. So here we go, we're just going to highlight it, and I'm going to come up here to the little text box and look for Arial. So Arial font 11, and the default is black, so I can leave it at that. So that's fine for me there. Now again, I might just pull it down a tiny bit to fill it in there, and that's fine. So next thing I'm going to do is insert a picture placeholder. So I go back to the insert menu and I go picture placeholder. Now this allows you to put in a picture placeholder if you haven't yet got the image ready to go. Now in this case we're going to put it in, but if you're designing your newsletter and you haven't found the ideal image yet, you can still put in a picture placeholder, and that will help you design the overall page, and you can come back to it later when you actually have the picture. So I click on that and it pops in there. Now obviously that's not the size we want a double column, so it's going to drag it out to there, right up to the line, over to the edge of the line, leaving the gutter there, and right out to the edge of the margin. Okay. Now when you actually have the picture, you can click on this guy, go from File, navigate to wherever your images are, click on the image you want, click Insert, and it appears in there. Now as you can see, the picture placeholder is almost a square, and the picture itself is longer than it. Now what you have the option with when it pops in is you have the actual option. It won't change the size of the actual picture placeholder that you've put in there. So that stays within the limits or the confines of the actual 2 columns and 2 rows. But what you could do is you can move it around until it's in the correct position for you. Now once you have it in that position, then just come up to crop up above here, click once on it, and now you're finished. And that's all there is to task 2 from the publisher exercises from lesson 2. So we've inserted the grids of 3 columns and 5 rows. We've inserted a text box, changed the text to Arial 11, and then we put in a picture placeholder, inserted an image into it, and cropped it to the correct size.